in Washington, and I need your help. You see me, I'm standing in front of the Department of Justice. Attorney General Barr, U.S. Attorney Durham. That's who I need to see. What you're going to see is instructions. Simply Google Department of Justice contact information. I'll put this form on display. What I want you to do is simply fill it out. You can do it anonymously. What I'm going to ask you to do is ask Attorney General Barr and U.S. Attorney Durham to meet with Mike Hill. He's in Washington. He's at your service. I will be there in a matter of hours. I'm here now. And the reason why I am here, people, you have to pay attention to what's going on here. The window is small, and the window is intentionally small. You've seen the president release information. In fact, U.S. Attorney Durham, I told you the investigation and the evidence he had was of money laundering, but it was also the corruption of the FBI, the IRS, the CIA. What they did was, they've taken U.S. Attorney Durham's investigation and they had given it to a gentleman in Texas, the U.S. Attorney. The U.S. Attorney, again, remember, is who prosecutes for the FBI. I remind you that I told you about the corruption in the FBI at the very highest levels, right to the U.S. Attorney Lullen, who is the most powerful U.S. Attorney in this country. Well, the President, Attorney General Barr, and U.S. Attorney Durham gave this case to be called Unmasked. Oh, and let me have you understand who U.S. Attorney Durham is. Do you know what he was doing before the Russian investigation? He was investigating the Boston FBI for organized crime connections. Guess what? I found the organized crime. I delivered it to the FBI to find out that they're part of the organization. So to pick Durham to investigate the Russian investigation, he knew the corruption and organized crime in the Boston FBI. That's Lullen. Those are the people who have my information. And lastly, remember I told you about money laundering? Guess what the FBI, the same corrupt Boston FBI, picked up in New Hampshire? Maxwell. You know, Epstein's girlfriend. The masterminds of what? Money laundering. Why they were in New Hampshire? Shaheen's protection. Why they get snatched up by that corrupt FBI? Because they're afraid they're going to rat them out. Guess what? Have you heard anything from Maxwell? What did we hear from Epstein? Right? They're holding them. They are the money laundering. And that's why Epstein had to die. And that's why Maxwell was in New Hampshire. And what she was doing is what I found. And who I found she was working with is the Shaheen. She's in New Hampshire because we're the laundering center. Real small state, well protected. There you go. The money runs through there. You're going to see several posts. I'll post one with the New York Post. I don't care if you like them or not. This isn't coming from Star Magazine. This is coming from the United States Attorney General, United States, and U.S. Attorney Durham. Now, if you missed it, what happened was, the U.S. Attorney to unmask these indictments and unmask this information to the public so you know who they are. His name was John Bash. He immediately resigned, as did the prosecutor for Durham, as did John Bash, who goes on to say, and we'll post several quotes, but the reason why he turned around and said he took a job a month ago, he must have forgot to tell everybody, because they appointed him at the part of the prosecution on the unmasking of these people. Now this is what you've got to ask yourself. Who are these people? I want you to look at the list of names they're unmasking. And if they're unmasking these names, A.G. Barr and Durham, it's charging them with treason. You understand? This is what they're being charged. Now let's whose names on the list that we know. You ready? Vice President Biden. The director of the FBI then, Comey. Former director of the CIA, Brennan. You understand I told you I found a network of corruption at the very highest levels of the Department of Justice and the FBI. Well, how about this? The Attorney General and in an investigation are calling them treasonous. You understand we are corrupt at the very highest levels of everything that protects us. This, in fact, is organized crime. This is the deep state. Now, this is why it's so important, and I need your help. Again, I want you to fill out that form. Say, Mike Gill's here in Washington, meet you. Please sit down and take his evidence. This is what my evidence is, and this is why it's dangerous. What did I tell you I found? I've told you I found the money laundering of the corrupt. They're stealing billions. What you have to understand is the cleaning of this money. One, they use our state banking departments. Remember, I built the largest brokerage firm in this country. I don't know banking departments. They use the banking department not to audit. So protected banks, some owned by actual drug cartels, are never audited. The IRS never reports wire transfers over 10,000 that is criminal. They cover them through the IRS. No audits. The Department of Revenue in your state, as it is in my state, is also be part of the auditing picture. Guess what? They're part of the program too. Think about this. $50 million settlement offer. Who's on it? The IRS, laundering. Banking Commission, laundering. The DRA, laundering. Who's in charge of it? Alex Walker, Bill Shaheen. Again, married to Senator Jane Shaheen. Are they on that 50 million? Yes. You get it? Morris Mahoney, why did they commit multi-billion-dollar fraud? Because they were protecting the doorway to the money laundering of this country. So my evidence connected to the Russian investigation finds their money. And if you're going to get them all, and if we're ever going to have a chance to dig out of this corruption, it's finding their money. You'll find them. And that's the importance of my evidence. It's always been about money laundering and them selling protection. Again now, I'm in Washington. Demand and help me get that meeting with AG Barr. And now you've seen some of my evidence. I posted some of my evidence. In fact, you've seen a video recently that I told the president, if you don't come up with the information with Durham and release it, you're gonna lose this election. And he waited 20-something days before. And now it's released. The Democrats are going to try to stop this investigation. If Trump loses, you will never ever know the truth. Here you go in closing, right? And if you don't think this election's about China, you're wrong. Think about this. You know why Trump found bad trade deals? Because they were done by payoffs. You don't get good deals if you're paying blackmail and bribery. That's what they found. That's part of the laundering. That's part of the corruption. Russia, China, they know how corrupt we are. And that puts this country, it makes us vulnerable about being leveraged. And that's what they did. They leveraged our election. The Chinese communists, the anti-Chinese communists, they are in our election. Trump turned around with those embargoes, was hard on China, and they'll turn around, and the same people like Biden, which is why he's on that list, that took bribes from China. So the name of this video is quite simply, win, or you go to jail. Either side. Lose, and this deep state will never make a mistake again by letting an outsider become president. Even though Trump didn't pull the trigger, they've leveraged him. He's throwing out the parachute now. So we've got a couple weeks to see if we can't turn around and make a little history. Mike Gill, State of Corruption.